Asshole foods. There are many reasons to dislike Whole Foods Market. There's the steep prices, the narrow aisles, and that disgusting salad bar in which wilting, rotting lettuce sits for hours on end while hundreds of people pick away at it. These are all good reasons. Then there's the fact that they've trademarked themselves as America's healthiest grocery store, a title that is both self-aggrandizing and not true. Or that the company's co-founder and CEO is kind of an asshole who doesn't believe in climate change and was stupid enough to go on NPR and compare Obamacare to fascism, apparently not thinking about the fact that the vast majority of NPR listeners are Obama supporters who shop at Whole Foods. Yes, these are all good reasons to dislike Whole Foods Market, but they're not my reason, or at least not my number one reason. My number one reason for disliking Whole Foods are the customers. I swear, I have never seen more uptight, neurotic white people in one place before than during a recent trip to my local Whole Foods. I've also never seen that much Patagonia or toe shoes. The moment I stepped through the doors, I felt a change in the energy around me. The air was suddenly thick with tension, anxiety, and self-righteousness. The very first thing I saw was a pregnant woman dressed in Lululemon stretch pants berating a Hispanic man working in the produce section about asparagus.
What do you mean there's no asparagus? What is going on in Asia that's preventing you from getting more asparagus here? I have a dinner party tonight and I need asparagus. If I don't have asparagus, everything will be ruined.
The man looked back at her with a nonplussed expression on his face. The more the woman spoke, the more frantic she became. Then she whipped out her cell phone, her eyes filling up with tears.
Honey, they don't have asparagus. I don't know. Something's going on in Asia, and the whole store is out of asparagus.
Shortly after navigating away from the produce section, I overheard a man and a woman talking in the meat department. They were examining a package of raw chicken together.
It says the chicken is free range.
Oh, good. That means it roamed around the farm and got to play with other chickens and didn't live in a cage.
Right. It had a good life. Not like those other chickens.
I wanted to ask, what other chickens? The second-class ones over at Safeway? But I didn't think it was appropriate. I also thought about pointing out that no, actually, free range doesn't mean any of those things, but why bother? For those of you who care, the official definition of free range just means that the chicken must have access to the outdoors, but there are no legal requirements for how much access they get or for how long. It still spends the majority of its life inside a cramped industrial shed, and is fed shitty food, and may have its beak sawed off, and all sorts of other horrible things I won't get into right now. A few minutes later, as I made my way down the snack aisle, I saw a heavily Botoxed woman waving a box of crackers in the air.
Are these crackers gluten-free?
She barked at a nearby store employee.
I cannot have any gluten whatsoever. I have a very severe allergy to gluten. Do you understand me?
So she'll inject poisonous chemicals into her face, I thought, but she won't consume grain.
I need to know right now if these crackers are gluten-free.
You know how people who insist on owning guns are always talking about hypothetical bad guys randomly breaking into their homes and trying to kill them? And that's why they need 14 guns, so they can defend themselves in the event of a surprise home invasion? It's crazy, right? Well, I think people who claim to be gluten intolerant are the same, but different. It's not a crazed gunman who's going to kill them, it's gluten. Gluten is going to sneak into their body and zap their digestive tract, making them feel bloated and fatigued and giving them explosive diarrhea. Quick disclaimer, I am not entirely discrediting gluten allergies. I realize that some people really do suffer from gluten sensitivity, and that's unfortunate for them. I can just see the comments now.
How dare you write off my gluten intolerance as being a figment of my imagination? How dare you? You have no idea what gluten has done to me. No goddamn idea!
Because that's the other thing about people who claim to have gluten allergies. As soon as you suggest that maybe the problem isn't quite as serious as they think, they freak out and get all defensive and act like you've accused them of something absolutely terrible, like voting for Bush in 2004. Moving on. Let's talk about the Whole Foods parking lot, shall we? One might think that customers who shop at Whole Foods are more environmentally conscientious. That's why they carry reusable grocery bags and support local sustainable agriculture and all that other bullshit. It's all very lovely until they climb into their massive SUVs and rev up the engine. Walking through a Whole Foods parking lot can be a little like playing Russian roulette. Cars and SUVs come roaring through at terrifying speeds. You never know when you might actually get hit. As I was leaving Whole Foods, I was in the middle of the crosswalk when a man in a silver Mercedes came tearing out in front of me. Had I been 1 foot further out, he would have run me over. As he zoomed past, I hollered, "Hey jerk, slow down!" To which he responded by giving me the finger. Which brings me to another point. Have you ever noticed how people are way bigger assholes when they're in their cars? They have no problem giving someone the finger, or laying on the horn rolling down the window and screaming,
Fuck off! You're a fucker! Fuck Fuck you, fucker!
But they would never behave that way to a person's face, because if they did, they'd probably get their ass kicked. Now I know what you're thinking.
Well, talk about calling the kettle black. You shop at Whole Foods, and I bet you've told someone to fuck off on the road before, too.
And you're right, I do shop at Whole Foods on occasion, and I probably have flipped someone off on the road before as well. But the difference, I believe, is that at least I exhibit some semblance of self-awareness. And that's the real irony about most Whole Foods customers. They think by simply shopping there, they're doing themselves and the environment and farmers and animals the whole world over some sort of favor. But they're not. Really, they're just paying extra for a false peace of mind. Oh, and to anyone who's still upset at me for discrediting their gluten allergy earlier, go eat a piece of fucking bread.